What's a good sign a dude is secure in his masculinity? I'm a combat veteran, father of two, engineer, happily married man for nearly 20 years, financially secure, own a home. I can fix it, build nearly anything. But I still get a lot of men giving me advice and man rules. I used to hang out with some alpha male types, and below are some of the things they told me. I like musicals, so apparently I'm not straight. My wife and I evenly split chores, cooking and raising our kids, so apparently I'm not straight. My wife earned more than me, despite the fact I make a pretty high salary, so apparently I'm not straight. I enjoy cooking and do a lot of the cleaning, so apparently I'm not straight. I let my wife back the car up so me and the salesman could load the new TV into it, so apparently I'm not straight. I love and respect my wife, and I enjoy my wife's company. Guess what? Apparently, I'm not straight for that. Those are things that real men have told me make me not straight. The funny thing is that one man that told me some of these got divorced, couldn't keep a good job, and ended up making a little over minimum wage as a late 30s alpha male. He also has a really hard time finding girls to date. He thought he was going to be slamming 20-year-olds left and right. Also, so many of them have issues in bed and require ED meds. Heard these things directly from them, or their wives complained about it to my wife. The alpha males are often compensating. Many of them are genuinely nice guys that have an annoying trait, as we all do. But the alpha of the alphas in these groups tends to be the biggest piece of crap in the world. Maybe these alpha males should focus on fixing their own lives instead of policing everyone else's. Talk about a confidence crisis. Story 2. I'm going to use my husband as an example because he's so secure in himself without being manly. He has never needed to be an alpha or whatever. These are just some of the things he does that I believe make him feel secure, not superior. He paints his nails. He saw another dude with painted nails and was like, dang, those look nice and I want to try it. So he did. He even does little designs and stuff for different holidays. It's so cool. He compliments anyone he wants to, like the dude with the nail polish. He can compliment a woman without it sounding creepy. He stands up for people. This is a big one that I absolutely love about him. One year on Easter, his grandparents started bashing trans people. I got super upset and left the conversation. He stayed and explained why it is important to have trans representation in the media. This was after the Dylan Mulvaney commercial. I can't drink the sweet drinks because of health issues, but he loves them. We recently went out for dinner and I ordered a vodka soda. He ordered a pomegranate or some such fruit margarita. He got carded and I didn't. That was a weird thing to have happen, as I'm also younger than him. I think the server saw us as mom and son. He really enjoyed his drink, though. I don't know. I think being able to not see things as not straight because it's girly is a huge thing that shows comfort in yourself, regardless. Oh, he also really loves getting flowers. I get them for him randomly, and he always lights up. I heard that whole, men only get flowers at the funeral, and I was absolutely not. There are so many other things, but this comment is already too long, so I'll stop. Thank you for giving me a chance to just appreciate him. Story 3. Comedian Eliza Schlesinger summed it up perfectly. A lion doesn't call itself a freaking lion. He's not afraid to drink appletinis because they're delicious, and whiskey tastes like spiced antiseptic. He'll wear a pink shirt and watch Barbie with his girlfriend. Even better if he sees it because he thinks it looks like a fun movie. He's not afraid to hold his wife's purse or go shopping with her. If they have kids, he'll get a minivan because that's what they need. He also doesn't try to praise himself for this, as he doesn't see this as something outside of what men do. If he likes to knit, he knits. If he likes Sailor Moon, he'll get the merch. He has no issues with shows with strong female leads. He's not afraid to hug his guy friends, be friends with queer men. He'll go to their clubs and drag shows and get into it. He'll cry at their wedding and gush over engagement rings. If he's hit on by a guy, he goes super flattered, but I'm straight. If he's sad, he says, I'm sad. If he needs emotional support, he asks for help. He admits he feels insecure or fat. If a girl rejects him, he won't try and turn her into a witch that he never wanted to date anyway because he knows it's not a reflection on his manhood. He won't try to sleep with every girl he sees or boast about his intimate life. He's a feminist, even when it's inconvenient for him. Insecure guys will be a girl power, yeah, as long as women are less than or equal to them. Women cannot be more than them, and if they are, it's only because they allow it. He scoffs at the idea he deserves respect solely because he's a man. He doesn't see things as things men do or don't do. They're just things. If you like them, you do them. If you don't partake. He has no reason to prove he's masculine or whipped or not queer, because he knows he isn't. It doesn't matter if someone thinks he's not straight for liking Cosmos, because a drink doesn't determine his gender. Story 4. When I was in my early 20s, I said something to my dad about real men don't do, and he, without missing a beat, goes, real men don't give a crap what other men think. and it stuck with me. I live in a rural area full of guys who have this weird obsession with how other men choose to live. You don't drive a truck? Must be a wuss. You wear anything other than a t-shirt and jeans? Wuss. You show interest in anything other than sports, cars, and hunting? Wuss. That attitude gives off such insecurity, it's unreal. Just be who you are and stop being so invested in how other people live their lives. Speak softly and carry a big stick sums up my feelings on it. Story 5. I don't present as hypermasculine, so I get it. I'm short, long-haired, skinny, and I grow a crappy beard. I'm not afraid to compliment men on their looks or make jokes at my own expense, even the non-straight ones. If insulted, I either lean into it or just ignore it. I don't threaten physical violence over intellectual debate or disagreements. I hate war nowadays, and I dare to treat women as equals. I do have a truck. I need it for my job. Well, that makes some parts of it way easier, but I got a Santa Cruz, which is a small Japanese 4-foot bed truck, instead of an F950 Ultra extended bed Ultra Cab Super Duty diesel dually lifted truck with the off-road tires. I would probably think I was a little not straight too, if I didn't know me. Story 6. I remember one day a customer got into an argument with him and the customer called him small, which upset my coworker to the point where he charged into our break room afterwards, yelling and swiping all the paper towels off the table. He doesn't know me, calling me small and crap. I'll probably sound like a schmuck here, but I didn't try to calm him down. It was hilarious. The kid was a tool who constantly put down other people in the store. He was a walking meme for lame alpha males. We were all so happy when he put in his 2 weeks. I never met somebody so fragile. Story 7. You can always tell if somebody's been in combat by how little they talk about it. When I was growing up, I was essentially told that being a man meant putting your personal BS aside and doing what's right by other people. It didn't mean whining incessantly about how so-and-so demanding everybody got on their knees and kiss your back. People always talk about how men bottle up their emotions, but sometimes, I swear to God, I think it's the opposite for most of us. So many men are totally ruled by emotion and let it manifest in the most selfish ways possible, like a toddler throwing a tantrum at Walmart. They never learn that they're only as good as they are to others and instead think others should be good to them for no reason at all. Story 8. My dad was a stay-at-home father and worked part-time nights and weekends, completely against traditional norms in the 90s to 2000s, especially in the South. I remember growing up, kids would say that my dad was really my mom and would poke fun at him taking on that role. But he knew my mom loved her career, and his career was long, long hours, so something had to give. And he sacrificed his career. To me, there's nothing more masculine than putting your partner and family first, regardless of what is traditional or what others think. Story 9. They embrace a little femininity. Seriously. The guy who's insecure will never even joke in a way that could make them seem slightly feminine for the duration of the joke. A guy who's secure will relate their breakfast burrito because it makes the first guy uncomfortable. Surprising number of replies seem to be completely missing the point. The point is that one of the ways you can tell if a guy's secure is that they have no problems doing things that are traditionally seen as very unmanly. I'm not saying this is the only form it takes. I'm not saying they feel they have to do this to prove something. The entire point is the opposite. They do not feel the need to prove something, so they aren't limiting themselves to only stuff that curate a traditional manly persona. It should have also been obvious that this is not specific to a burrito job. That's a funny example to illustrate the idea. Can't believe I used to think reading comprehension was a waste of time in schools. Story 10. He has no time for, but also does not get angry about questions like this one. People talk about toxic masculinity so much, but I have to say, if a behavior truly is toxic, it isn't masculinity. People who say that actual masculine behaviors are toxic likely don't understand actual masculinity. To be masculine is to be powerful and capable of savage behavior, but to regularly practice patience, restraint, and genuine care for others. The savagery is only necessary for protecting those he loves and should be used sparingly. A truly masculine man is well-rounded, educated, knows the arts, can perform domestic duties, is quick to listen, slow to anger, is handy, is helpful, and doesn't waste time on things that don't matter. Story 11. A few years ago, my wife made a new friend. When I met him, the first thing he ever said to me after the pleasantries was, "We should hang out sometime. I'm usually doing something manly like cleaning my weapons." No, my dude, you are LARPing, is what you think a manly man is. I have known him for like 8 years now. I've never felt like he was ever being himself. He just got a Cybertruck and I laughed because, of course, maybe that's how he wants to really be and good for him if so. But I can't help but think of a line from a Jimmy Eat World song. I try it, but it shows when I'm around him. To me, dudes should just live their life. If you're trying to be something else, that's just going to make you feel empty. Maybe he should try actually enjoying himself instead of trying to live up to some outdated stereotype. Story 12. I'm not sure why so many people attempt to wade through whatever it is. I guess we all like pretending the vast majority of people are bad or something. Most men, the vast majority, are secure in their masculinity. The examples used in this very thread prove that. How many actual alpha males, guys who describe themselves as such, exist in your life? Mountains and molehills for social media karma. That said, because you enjoy fruity drinks and someone does not, doesn't make you more masculine, them less, or have any bearing on the level of security. Some of you are not as sensible as you think. Story 13. In my experience as a man who works in a pretty alpha male heavy place, I'd say the biggest separator is insecurity. A lot of guys will still use the "that's not straight" line well into their 40s, and then feel they need to desperately defend themselves from that title, or they need to protect their acumen. I remember one day a group of us were sitting in our break room and they were all talking about wanting to have a triad and each of them talking about themselves like some sort of Olympian god. Then they turned to me and asked about it and I'm just like, I'd never have a triad. I got enough anxiety when I'm trying to please one woman. I probably have a panic attack with two. And then I got called not straight for a week. Story 14. My husband will not hesitate to get me necessary products in a heartbeat. He has me send him a pic of the packaging so he can make sure he gets the right product. I will never forget the day while he was folding laundry, he threw on one of my crop tops. It was honestly really hot on him. I hardly ever do laundry, by the way. He takes on most of the domestic, womanly cleaning chores. He doesn't believe in gender roles. He believes in partnership. Once when we were at a concert, I made a comment about the lead singer being so cute I just wanted to fold him up and tuck him away you-know-where. And my husband's response was, I'll take pictures. I could go on and on about him forever. He's exemplary. Story 15. If he calls himself an alpha male or brags about his own rules or other such crap, he's never grown up. If another grown man is upset or uncomfortable about my old self wearing a bright pink shirt to give someone who needs a laugh, then you need to get over yourself. Toughen up, sunshine. The man in the pink shirt ain't gonna taint your masculinity. He's probably gonna go home, have a cup of tea, and go to bed like every other day. If you want to give rules to people, go ahead, but they ain't gonna follow them and they're gonna think you're a schmuck. Story 16. I think when he's uncomfortable enough to step out of the framework a bit, like he loves cats or RuPaul or sings along to Lizzo or something. Not saying those in particular, but that would be an example. I met this guy that is very masculine presenting and by all measures, pretty fit. Did time in his youth. I have some hokey crap in my place, crystals and candles and whatnot, including these like tarot card wall hangings. He noticed them and asked if I had any. Of course I did. He asked me to read one for him. I'm pretty early in it, but I did a spread and read it out. Then dropped a pretty in-depth interpretation on me that was very insightful while also very succinct. I was like, what the hell? Guess his mom was into it. Read his tarot card a lot as a kid. Brought him a deck in prison and some of the guys were into it. Guess they were just ending time anyways. Lost the Hierophant at some point though, which I found fitting. Is pretty unconventional. It was refreshingly unexpected and unsurprisingly, he's one of the more confident and free-thinking people I know. I bet he secretly judges everyone who doesn't have a comprehensive tarot card collection. Story 17. Usually you can see it after looking at what he wears and what he talks about. He doesn't feel the need to prove it to anyone. Thus, out come the comfortable clothes or stuff that he likes because it fits him or his view of himself. I'm 45 and an IT guy who also fixes his own motorcycle. When I can get away with it, you'll see me in jeans and a t-shirt, and when it gets colder, out comes the hoodie. I look good in a suit and tie and do wear it when the occasion demands it. I drive a minivan. I've never, ever understood the need to prove to anyone that I'm a man. I am one. I like being one. I like women too. They usually like me too. I'm honest and respectful. And I was raised basically by 3 women from my family. I'm not good looking, but I know my worth and what I can do. And thus, I guess I'm confident. Mostly. We all have insecurities and that's fine. Story 18. He's comfortable doing things that may be considered feminine. If I ask if he's okay with me doing his makeup for fun, he says yes. If our potential daughter asks him to have tea with her in a pretty pink dress, he says yes. He's able to compliment other men or give his opinion without saying, I'm straight, so I wouldn't know. He is comfortable having close male friendships without having to hypermasculine everything or be cold towards his friend. He's able to cry and express his feelings without being too controlled and stoic. His masculinity is not threatened when there is either external or internal femininity present. Story 19. Not caring what other people think when it comes to being comfortable. A good example. Last summer I was whitewater kayaking. I somehow forgot my dry clothes at the put-in. End of the day, it was way too hot for my wetsuit. When I realized I had forgotten my dry clothes, my wife offered me the dress she wears after boating. Rather than be way too hot in my wetsuit, I put on a dress. The folks we were kayaking with all had a good laugh about it. Their pics of me striking a pose for them. Hell, I even stopped in a convenience store for a snack on the way back to my truck dressed like that. When I told a buddy about it, he got really bothered by the whole thing and said that he would have been hot and uncomfortable in his wetsuit rather than wearing a dress. My buddy isn't secure in his masculinity in the slightest. Story 20. And he's more human than man and accepts that. A man is a gender role where a human being is just themselves. I love a good-looking woman. Wear jeans, a leather jacket, and boots because I like it and feel comfortable in it. I change diapers, as many as my soon-to-be ex-wife. Don't drink, drive a hybrid car and not a truck. My next vehicle will be a minivan. Love disco. Want to learn how to paint nails so my daughter will always have pretty nails. Want to learn how to sew and design clothing. Don't like guns or hunting all that much. Love yoga and the occult. I do those things not because they're manly, but because it's what I like. The whole being a man thing is BS. Just be unapologetically yourself. Story 21. I had a conversation with my dad recently about defining what a man is. It was after I spent a while thinking about the legacy my mom left after she passed a few years ago. The opinion we both came to was essentially a real man makes people around him better or gives them opportunities to better themselves. I don't stress over masculinity or even think about it. I am too busy taking care of my immediate family. And when that is taken care of, I work on vehicles for friends and family. My family has less fortunate friends who we consider family that we take care of when needed, etc., etc. Moral is, any man who gives his time to others doesn't have time to worry about his masculinity. At least this is what I try to live by. Story 22. Just my thoughts. Security is a mindset that is based in reality and the truth. Secure guys can take a joke and laugh at themselves. Secure guys also know when someone is being rude or demeaning and they call them out on it. They know everything is not about them, so they learn to be interested in others. They dress like they respect themselves, but they honestly and genuinely don't worry about or care about impressing people. It's not about external validation, but it's about doing things in a way that is true to yourself and your nature. Security with yourself takes a while. Upbringing from a secure dad can really help the process, but anyone can learn it. Guys and girls. The process really starts with the foundations and people you surround yourself with. Allow to be around you. The stories that you tell yourself. Surround yourself with good, honest people. Question the things that believe and always welcome new data, even when it hurts. Try to take emotion out of things and make decisions unless it really matters. Write down your honest core values. Revisit them often. Story 23. Not worrying about masculine crap. It's amazing how often I get looks at the store when I'm buying pads for the women in my house. Like, dude, 1, they aren't for me. I'm already out and about, so why would I make my wife or stepdaughter run to the store and waste the gas? 2, even if I was trans or whatever it is you're thinking, and they were for me, it's not your business. I got in a short argument with my dad a year back. I was confused to learn that not only did I allow my wife to put our youngest son in dance and baton, but I showed up and supported it. I just told him it's what the boys want to do. When he asked what would happen if he turned not straight, I just kind of shrugged and said, at least if he has kids, he planned it out ahead of time. Story 24. He has his own definition of masculinity and strives towards it. One shouldn't build ideals upon the ideas of one structure or one man, but of the ones who are kind and strong in the way they wish to be. I'd hope to have the strong words of Churchill, the grace and humor of Mads, with his taste too, with perhaps the demeanor of Eddie Berg with his style. And to round it off, I'd like to be charitable and peaceful like Cillian Murphy. All very different men, all vastly different. Yet I'd expect something vastly different from another man, with a different ideal and different beginnings. I'm more feminine in my tastes and personality by average psychological analysis, but I still see myself as masculine. And frankly, I couldn't care less if my father or other people think less of it, because that means I'm doing fine. If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button for more videos like this. Story 25. Best marker is a lack of insecurity about his masculinity, which basically translates to not giving a crap, which isn't necessarily good or bad, in my opinion. It's actually a pretty hard question, so I've given it a chance. Thing is that I'm not sure people know that literal security about masculinity isn't the same as positive masculinity. These are all matters of taste, but I know that one marriage ended over a dude wanting to experiment with his feminine side, and the wife just couldn't stand seeing their partner being unmanly. Dude's definitely secure in his masculinity to the point where he was all good about it. Perhaps they weren't meant to be. Perhaps he should have a partner that didn't care about surfaces, but why would he then go for a feminine wife? Perhaps he was just comfortable enough with himself to know what he wanted and what he expected without giving it much thought. In a recent case closer to home, a covert narcissist messed with a friend by reinforcing that they'd bottled their feelings for so long, reinforcing every bit of whining and crying, only afterwards bearing them apart for having learned that they were actually a crybaby in disguise as a man. Yeah, brutal stuff. Dude's a shell of his former self. Perhaps if he was more secure in his masculinity, he wouldn't have cared about being seen as a crybaby. I'm all for breaking down traditional barriers, but people need to understand that they'd be letting go of many things they take for granted. And figuring out the stuff from scratch may not be as easy as people think. I, for one, think that a bit of vulnerability and insecurity can be fun, romantic, and hot. Story 26. Laughs at jokes at his own expense without taking a hit to his ego. Handing a grocery or shopping bag to their partner when they offer to help carry. You'd be surprised at how many men see it as a sign of weakness and refuse to let their partner help them in anything. This happens with women too. I had a friend who absolutely would never allow a guy to help them do anything. I never saw it as a prejudice, just understood from the way she was treated by her father as being not as capable as the brother. This makes a person feel like they have something to prove. Sometimes people ask their partners if they can help. You know you don't need it, but consider it makes us warm and fuzzy inside knowing that we helped in what little way you allow us. Please, everyone, if your partner offers a hand, accept it, even if it's unnecessary. Sending love to all. Story 27. I feel like the ability to be patient and listen is a hugely attractive masculine trait. My girlfriend one time when we started dating briefly mentioned when we were looking at candles that she loved the smell of sandalwood. So I replaced all my shampoo and body wash with sandalwood scents. She's now always complimenting me on how good I smell. Be the kind of man that people are not afraid to talk to about anything. Whether it is your partner or your friends, have open ears and don't always try to interject with some story about what happened to you one time that relates to their experience. Just listen. It goes a long way. Story 28. Funny, this is the exact thing I've been asking myself. As a mostly straight guy who recently has been working on accepting that I'm into expressing my enjoyment of feminine energy when I'm at home, I realized that being secure in my masculinity means that I don't have to wonder if liking a dress makes me not straight. You know what makes a man not straight? Being attracted to other men. The idea that some macho man will have to tell you all the time how much of a man they are to me just oozes insecurity. While on the other hand, when I'm out with friends and laugh about wondering if that dress comes in my size, I'm a larger guy. I feel like I don't have to constantly reaffirm how much of a man I am. Because for me, it's not about how I look. It's about how I feel. Story 29. I have tiny feet, so women's sneakers fit me better. I'm 6 foot, but my shoes are a men's 8. Also, all regular sneakers, like New Balance, off the rack, only comes in like 4 colors for dudes. Black, gray, blue, or white. I went to the New Balance outlet in Florida and they had some fresh colors in the women's shoes. Basically the same models as the men's shoes, but in smaller sizes and a much larger variety of colors. Nothing too girly, but since I was in Florida, I got the black NBs with pink or orange soles and logos, and a few other kinda loud colorful women's sneakers, but nothing you would think was really girly. The dudes at the bar roast me about the colors from time to time. I just roast them right back, saying I borrowed them from their sister the other night or something like that. Story 30. I had a boyfriend, who's now passed on, rest in peace. That wasn't all weird with his guy friends like the guys I went to high school with. My best girlfriend and his best guy friend barely knew each other and we all took a trip together and all got a hotel room to save money. My boyfriend and his guy friend shared a bed and my best friend and I shared a bed. There was no debate. We got to the hotel room and my boyfriend and his friend asked us which bed we wanted and that was that. 2 guys sleeping in the same bed. I'm making it weird. What a breath of fresh air that was. Compare that to the situation I was put in college. My gal pal, her boyfriend, his friend I barely knew, and myself spent the night in a hotel. And I had to share a bed with some guy I barely knew. All because them two sharing the same bed was not straight. Me? A guy that's secure in their masculinity can be affectionate with their male friends the same way women are with each other. If he's a hugger, everyone gets a hug, not just his female friends. If 2 guys sit next to each other, they're cool with it and don't get all weird if their knees touch a little bit. It's about having real confidence, not fake confidence. Story 31. Doing things that are labeled as feminine by society, without making it a big deal, or accepting men that do feminine things without pointing it out. Like, I guess I have a different view on it since I'm a trans dude, but when I was coming out first, I was really insecure about what I was allowed to do and what not. Like, I only would dye my hair natural colors, even if I wanted fancy colors, since I was a kid. So now, a couple of years later, I don't really give a crap about it anymore. I dye my hair the way I want and sometimes put on some black eyeshadow for my emo-ness. And sometimes I still feel insecure about it, especially because I'm not on testosterone yet. Like, I know that the chance to get misgendered is higher, but so what? I know I'm a man that won't change just because the other people don't see me as a man. I don't want to spend my life avoiding things just because it's unmanly. I love guys wearing nail polish or makeup. I want to be one of them. And just that dumb wrong chromosome won't stop me. P.S., like I said, I know that might lead to being misgendered more, and I really want to distance myself from the TikTok trans people getting mad at people misgendering them while they present fully feminine. Like, people will just call you the way they think it's right based on your looks, and that's okay. Story 32. I disagree with the silly. That doesn't scream masculine nor leader to me as a woman at all. I'd say for me, a strong woman, a strong man, doesn't take offense easily nor act on pride or defend his pride. That would make him subject to burning his own energy for lesser men who offended him to protect his fragile ego. He's got way more important things to focus his energy on, like defending my honor and showing other men how to behave around me because I'm his. He is in control of his own views. That's a man. A masculine guy is mature and not looking to prove himself, nor compelled too easily for some idiot questioning him or offending him. However, he makes me feel like he has no fear nor hesitation once compelled to fight for the right reasons. Like someone hurting his kids or wife intentionally who won't respect clear boundaries. He carries an inner confidence and control over his own views. He makes intelligent decisions and has my back. On the contrary, my own spouse liked to fight this young man and is strangely proud of that. I've never told him it looks like false confidence to me because I understand it was an immature display of testosterone. If I were him, I'd quit referencing it though and be embarrassed of it now. But hey, I'm not him. Deep down, I've always had more confidence than he ever has. I still like that he's a masculine guy in general, even if he's a schmuck like we all are at times. Dude watches laws and stocked up when he thought there were restrictions coming in the Second Amendment. He watches international politics. He knows all the safe zones and unsafe places he'd never take his wife and kids traveling. Watch the Owen Wilson or Lake Bell movie No Escape to see what happens when a man moves his family without paying attention to this stuff. Story 33. I think being secure in your masculinity comes down to a simple question. Are you a man? If your answer is yes, without justification, mental gymnastics, explanations, or definitions, you're truly a man. You don't need to change anything about yourself, nor do you need to act a certain way to be a man or a woman. You just are. You can't become. You can't stop being. You just are. This is what I think about masculinity and femininity, and all those arbitrary rules for what being a man or a woman means. All these people in the comments saying things like emotional maturity makes you a man, being responsible makes you a man, being quiet makes you a man, being humble makes you a man. That's all BS. Being emotionally mature makes you emotionally mature. Being responsible makes you responsible. Being humble makes you humble. Being quiet makes you quiet. And being a man makes you a man. Nothing more, nothing less. The idea of masculinity and femininity is mistaken correlation and causality. Story 34. Having a positive body image and not being self-conscious about the way you look or what you may think other people may perceive you as, based on what you wear or don't wear. Whether it be a tie with a short-sleeved collar shirt, a Canadian tuxedo, having a mullet, etc. The examples below deal with body shaming. Wearing above-the-knee shorts, for example, with a 5-inch inseam or shorter. Boys or men often feel embarrassed by any presumed ridicule or gossip they may receive. Also wearing a skirt, not a kilt, or wearing a kilt which usually extends to just above the knee in the traditional Scottish kilts. Also wearing a real bathing suit to the beach or pool, specifically what are sometimes called Speedos, although the Speedo company now makes all flavors of swimwear. Thus explicitly not wearing shorts in a swimming pool. If you can man up enough to wear something that most people would probably find more comfortable and better looking, but also prejudicially perceived as and stupidly consider it to be not straight. If you as a person of the male gender can be comfortable with your own body and disregard the often over-exaggerated claims of the body-shaming movement, then you are indeed masculine. I find that the male gender is too shy to show a bit of skin is not at all a masculine quality. In fact, worrying about how you look and how other people will think about you because of what you wear is a very feminine quality. Like the still common practice of girls thinking they need to wear makeup to appear attractive, or worse, the overuse of makeup, which makes many women look insecure. Both genders have bizarre self-esteem issues, so get over it and man up. Be comfortable with your own body. Take your shirt off when it's hot outside so you don't have to sweat up your clothing, and the primary places where people sweat are in the upper body. Summarily, a good sign a dude is secure in his masculinity is when he can wear summer clothes in the heat of the summer without feeling self-conscious, and particularly swim briefs or bikinis, traditional 2 or 3 inch inseam, jogging shorts while jogging, above the knee shorts, but wants to have their thighs sweaty and their calves cool. It's just weird. So, not being self-conscious about your body and the way you think people may perceive you is masculine. Story 35. I know this sounds really trivial, but I used to work in bars or hospitality, and men tend to only order drinks which are natural or neutral colors like brown, clear or white, maybe dark or deep red, or with a bit of natural green, like a mojito. They very rarely get drinks with fancy, delicate glasses, usually preferring square, and tend to not like drinking when there are too many decorations or straws, etc. A fairly large number of men will actually act horrified if they're given or see another man get given a girly-looking drink, even if the drink is actually far stronger. For example, an Aviation, which is purple and comes in a martini glass, and basically pure spirit. If a guy is confident in ordering whatever fruity cocktail he wants, doesn't blink an eye or make a comment if it turns out a bright or girly color like pink, orange, or lilac, and doesn't instantly remove any garnish, to me that's a sign that he's secure in his masculinity. He's not performing. He doesn't feel he has to conform to masculine-looking drinks. He doesn't see girly drinks as automatically bad or weak. He's just living his best life. But I'll throw it out there. Very few men meet this bar. Some will drink non-masculine drinks as a statement, but very rarely will a man unironically order something like this. Story 36. Not giving a crap about how they're perceived. 2 examples. I'm taking archery lessons. Whenever I land a 10, I turn to my coach and tell him, "That was for you, baby," and then blow him a kiss. Initially thought it was not straight, then realized I don't give a crap what others think. It's all for the laugh. Side note, one of the toughest coaches at a range came out as trans. My coach was thrown for a loop. Number 2, lived in Japan for years. My town hosts a man festival at a local temple. It's held outdoors at night. In February, 5,000 men wearing fundoshi, sumo diapers, wrestle each other for bundles of sticks while being hosed down with freezing cold water. Men come from all over to compete. I made a point to go out to dinner and watch a movie. A friend of mine from the US asked me why I didn't participate and demonstrated my manliness. My response, because being a man means doing what you want, not constantly proving yourself to others. Story 37. Well, for me, when I was charity fundraising, I'd get approached by a lot of non-straight older men in public. I just decline, have a nice little laugh, and continue with life. I came from the London Council of State of Mind type crap that don't take too well to such encounters. But end of the day, I even had to tell my team I was on with for that day that end of the day just means I'm so sexy men want me. And that's great. For me, not them. No need to be worked up on what goes on around you if nothing is truly happening. To me, being able to control or own up to my feelings and emotions in the face of anything is being secure in masculinity. Story 38. My husband is willing to have experiences that women are expected to adhere to. Willing to try long nails, at least for the weekend, but he rocked them. Try a dress. He did like the breeze. Try wearing pantyhose. They're annoying. Shaved his legs. Took an hour, lol, but I did treat him to nice fresh sheets. He's willing to experience the wild beauty routines women are expected to go through to maintain a beauty standard. Any man willing to show empathy and willing to put in the effort to understand what women are expected to achieve is secure in his masculinity. They know that the mere existence of femininity is not a threat, but a beautiful ornamentation to their masculinity. Story 39. A securely masculine man will read the situation and either get upset or not, based on what is really needed. An insecure guy either fights or fawns when his wife talks to another man, regardless of the situation. Many insecure guys try to portray their fawning as some masculine virtue. Look at me, I'm not insecure. Of course I let other men have intimacy with my wife, but secretly even they would be more happy if their wives wouldn't flirt with other men. They're just so afraid of conflict or abandonment that they can't say it out loud. Story 40. I lost a friendship with a woman because her then new boyfriend was very insecure. He thought I was trying to steal her from him, even though we'd been friends for far longer than he's known her and I'd shown no signs of trying to make a move on her. And he threatened to hurt me if I ever talked to her again. The worst part was, she ultimately chose to cut me off, throwing away her friendship in favor of being with him. Story 41. He's comfortable helping with household chores. Male relatives crap on my husband for cooking, cleaning, doing the laundry, and making my plate at dinner sometimes. But he just ignores them. It's nice being with a man who understands that it's everyone's responsibility to care for the home, not just those with 2 X chromosomes. He's emotionally aware and has relatively high emotional intelligence. Generally speaking, fears around perceived masculinity shows a lack of emotional intelligence or awareness. Also, things like being able to show other men affection without fear, not being afraid of public perception, and things like that. Generally speaking, People who are secure in their masculinity aren't fearful of perception or worried about external judgments. Story 42. He'll carry around any and all girly stuff for his significant other and or daughters in public, without question, and seem genuinely pleased to have the opportunity to help them out by doing so. I've known dudes that wouldn't touch a woman's purse or even shopping bag, not even temporarily, to free up her hands for something she needs to do. No one's going to seriously think it's yours, and to the a-hole has to joke, "Nice purse," you can just reply, "Thanks, I'll pass the compliment along to my wife. I agree, she's got excellent taste." Story 43. I admire guys who will do something publicly even if they're bad at it. Dancing and singing are things I'd love to be able to do, but I need about 10 drinks in me before my self-consciousness drops to a level that allows me to do that. Not sure why, because I'm quite comfortable showing my caring, emotional, or vulnerable sides, which is traditionally not a masculine thing to do. On the other hand, if it's my daughters wanting to dance, I will get up on the dance floor and dance with them, even if I'm the only one up there. Story 44. One time, my brother and some friends walked into a breakfast restaurant to meet up with my sister. She had forgotten her purse and had to bring it in front of her, so I flipped it over my shoulder and carried it with some flair. Might as well own it. Brother turned around after a few seconds and scolded me to stop carrying it like that. "People are staring." I burst out laughing at his comment, because why would I give a crap about random people? He turned around speechless. Well, if you like these stories, here's more. YouTube thinks you're going to love this. Catch you in that video.